Everything looks good. All right, so we're here in Asheville. Step outside and take a look. This is another freeware airport. Let me zoom out here. We'll take a bigger look. This is with Ortho 16. It's a beautiful area out here in Asheville. Eventually, maybe Orbx will do this area. We'll be curious to see what it looks like in MS 2020, FS 2020. Oops, went up in the clouds. So yeah, this is very nice looking. Some nice shopping malls right over here, and I think over here. So I don't really see them on the ortho too much, but they're there. You get a sense how beautiful this area is. So we're back in the TBM, of course, and I toyed with the idea of doing this flight on the E1000, and I just, I decided to stick with this airplane. But E1000 is completely capable of doing this flight. Its G1000 is fine. It's got some quirks with the keyboard, and it doesn't have the voice that tells you vertical track. Other than that, its G1000 is, in terms of VNAV, it's as completely capable as the one in the TBM. So, yeah. The idea of today's flight is, and like I said, I may turn this into a tutorial, just sort of shorten out the departure, but since I'm doing it, I will, let's see, so we're departing KAVL and we're going to KIAD. Yeah, since I'm doing the flight, why not stream it? TBM900. Walk you through the process. If you don't use SimBrief, it's a really good way to get a flight plan. So, got that. We're set to pounds mode. And here's our choices for flight plans. But we're going to, let's see, I need the wiggle one. Let me take a quick look at that just in case. I've got a star that I picked out, and let's see, is it here? Yeah, the KAVL 3 arrival. But we could look at this wiggle one since it's a flight plan that this thing's offered us. No, that doesn't. Well, this is a really, I mean, it's a simple star. Maybe too simple. It has two hard altitudes, one at flight level 210 and one at 13,000. So the VNAV and the G1000 will handle this sitting still. It's pretty boring. You just load it up. These should already be blue. If you would check these fixes to make sure they are blue, like the altitudes on the fixes are blue. If they're not, then just go select the altitudes and click enter. And they'll turn blue. And this actually looks like a really nice flight too. But if you go back to the other one, what was it, the KAVL? Go to this one, look at this one. You got to be at or above 220 here. Then you got to be below 220 and above 14,000 here. And then above 13,000 here, above 11,000 here, at 10,000 here, at 7,000 here, at 6,000, 4,000. So it really accomplishes the same thing as the other star, but it's more complicated. Certainly it's more complicated out here. Down here it gets real simple. Once they're fixed altitudes, the G1000 just will fly you to that altitude if it can. So it would be at 10,000, down to 7,000, down to 4,000, and then on up. So we would take the Dorn transition on the KAVL 3. And I think that's what we'll do. So I just need to make up a flight plan here. Okay, so now I've been caught because I was hoping, well, let's see, let's view more routes. Code 5, code 5. Let's cheat. Let's go up here and go to Charlotte. KCLT, and we'll modify it. CLT. And a few more routes. So this one goes to KAVL, but it doesn't actually. So nobody uses the KAVL. Let's try Atlanta. Well, this one goes to KAVL. Let's have a look at this. And there's Migo right there. So Dorn. There's KAVL. This is essentially it. So what if I did? No, I'm not going to do that. But let's construct something here. Okay, so let's do this. KAVL. And let's not go to Philly. KRIC. I'd rather go to Richmond than to Philly. Gotta spend the night someplace. Let's do it in Philly. And we are going to, let's put on the, we'll go TRSSK KAVL 3. TRSSK KAVL 3. Let's analyze route. And we could go via Hickory, Winston-Salem, Danville. I don't think there's a VOR in Winston. That's Charlotte. Okay, so there's the Spartanburg VOR, which is, or we could go up to, what is this? Sugarloaf. SUG, let's try that. SUG, analyze route. It didn't even know what Sugarloaf was. It doesn't look like it. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, maybe I typed it wrong. No, I did not. I could go to SPA. What is this? Foothills. That makes sense. Where are we here? Let's try that. ODF. We'll leave sugar in there for real quick. ODF. Analyze route. Well, ODF is gotten completely turned around here. And analyze route. So there's Sugarloaf. So we need something up in this area. So I've gotten moved around here a little bit. Obviously, I'm in the wrong area. SPA. We'll go. Wait a second. It's supposed to be up here. Here we go. GSO or Danville. Let's try Danville. It should be DAN. 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 Analyze route. Pretty straight. It's pretty normal. Greensboro would take us right to there. I don't think sugar adds anything to us, so let's just do GSO. Analyze route. Just to vary it up a little bit. There's probably an airway or something along there, but I don't really need it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to depart south on runway 17. Be an hour and 15 minutes. Arrival runway 12. I don't want to arrive 12. I would rather arrive, and there's another reason for that. I'd rather arrive on one right if I can. Let's look at the weather. 0807. I'm going to do one right. No. Do one right. Say no, because I like this. And let's generate OFP, and we have a flight plan. The weather in Asheville is Charlotte, Bristol, that's Tennessee. There it is. It's pretty good. Altimeter is 3011. Departing to the south, going this way. 3011. So we have a flight plan. So KAVL. And this will give us some time to discuss. I want to discuss this in a couple of different ways. Airport. We're sitting right there. Short taxi. Out to hotel, I guess, and then down Alpha to Alpha 6. Okay, icing is good. Good, good, good. I shut everything off pretty well last night, I guess. Let's get some gas. What do we say we needed for gas? The way to calculate your gas, in case you don't know, is take the number of pounds. Block fuel is 1114. So it's 1114 divided by 6.8. So just divide the pounds by 6.8. This gives us 164 gallons minimum. So the weather's good. I don't need to go up too much, but I'll go up to 180. Actually put the fuel cap back on. I was watching Luna's World. I always love watching his videos. And he took off from, and I've done this too, so I've done it twice. He took off with both fuel caps open. Not one, both. I've done it with one twice. So now we're even. But he did a nice flight from Santa Barbara up to, not Santa Barbara, Monterey. I believe it was Monterey to, what's that airport right next to Los Angeles, just to the north. The one where you see the nice corporate jets going in there. I think Harrison Ford flies in there. Chalks off. Park and brake on. And let's see, is that everything? I had the caps on. I put them on last night. There's a risk of getting a hot start if you don't put them on with this airplane. Just a small risk, but it's there, and it happened to me once, and that's how I found out about it. I have a theory about myself that, and this may be true about you too, is I have to make every mistake once. And, so that the fuel cap thing, I had to make that one twice. Yeah, at least once. At least once, let me put it that way. And, so, yeah. I've started the engine with the doors open, done all kinds of things. So yeah, this is going to be a star. Last night I did an approach I went to Jacksonville without a star, just did an approach and showed how to do both a visual approach, which I did not complete, but I did show how to do it using a long track, a long track ATK offset, a long track offset. And which if you're doing a visual approach or really any approach, you'll use that a lot. Particularly if you're not using a star, you'll use it a lot because you can level out before you get to the initial approach fix rather than just gliding into the initial approach fix, which is fine as long as you get your speed below 178 to set your flaps. So, yeah. So here we are.
Pause system test. Okay.
All right, so since I'm thinking about it, delete the flight plan. And last night I landed in Jacksonville. I usually go from airport to airport, so this morning I'd be taking off from Jacksonville. But in the magic world of flight simming, today I didn't. Okay, so we're good there. I can't dilly-dally because I don't have a GPU hooked up. Let's see, I've already checked the overhead. Nav strobe on. Boost pump on. Oops, clicked the wrong switch. Starter ignition, oil pressure, NG coming up. Running this, watching ITT. I think we're going to be okay. 30 by 30. Cut out. Okay, let's get the inertial separator on. Put this on auto. And come on. Looks good. AC on. What's the temperature? 23. It's going to be a warm day. What else? Oxygen. Okay. Standby instruments. What did I say? Altimeter is, there you are, 3011. I always say I'm going to start the flights early, and then I end up farting around. So what is that, a tropical storm out in the Atlantic right now? And 50 frames per minute here. It's amazing. You know, I mean, Florida does, you know, Orbx Florida does cost some frames. Even the SD version does. You get up here to this part of the country and you're up in the 50s, hitting 60 sometimes. Lets you know just how much it is. Let's see, heading is 100, or is it 080? Yeah, 080. Okay, so good. Check LFP, so we need a flight plan. Luckily we have one. GSO, I believe I said Danville. DAN. Oh, no. Too quick. DAN backspace, enter. All right, and then we want KIAD. KIAD, enter, and then we want the proc. Select a departure. Really? Oh, wow. Oh. No, that's the Asheville 5. Oh, that's departure. Clear. I want the arrival. Proc. Arrival. And the Kepler 3. Trisk. Did I say Trisk? No, I can take Dorn. I'll take Dorn. Clear. See if I can do this. And we want one right. Let's see if the wind stays nice for us. We're on GPS term. We are departing south. Heading will be 167. Can you do this? 167. I'll do it this way. There we go. 167. We will use an altitude of say 7,000. Up to 7,000. There's some mountains around here, and we are at 2,600 already. Let's just take a look at the let's show what the MSA is around here. It doesn't. Let's look at the chart here. Yeah, we're good there. There's 7,000 over to our west, but over to the east it's 4,800, so 5,800 would be good. Going north, it gets, you got to be up at 8,000 in a hurry. If I were taking off to the north, I would have to probably use 9,000. Timer off. Bring up the flight plan, select GSO, and we're ready to go. Altitude heading, just finish up the checklist here. 312 is our LFE, landing field elevation. Altimeter is set, pitch, yaw, trim, de-ice is fine, our inertial separator switch is on. So just look at the LFE one more time, look at the CAS one more time, and turn the taxiway light on. Check all these off. And then I'll do a brief run up when we get there. Brief, very brief, incredibly brief. So off we go. Let's get some ATC noise. Departure ground. Oh. Okay. So this is another common thing, you know, when you're arriving via a star with a VNAV. Okay, so I'm on ground. What is tower frequency? Asheville tower 121 124.65. Come on, there we go. And that's all we need. Well, let's see, we could put in the Asheville departures 125.8.
American 115 for the ground, we're 27 left short, you taxi, Tango, let's go to Kilo.
All right, now we're ready to go. Park and brake off.
275, 35 for the ground, we're 27 left short, taxi via Echo 5 and Echo hold short, runway 27.
That taxiway should be right behind us. Is that it? We can take this one. So about an hour in flight. 1 hour. You know, as good as photoreal is, well, let me look down this way. I'll just say it's prettier in person. Where's the terminal? It's not a bad freeware airport. Flaps are going down. hesitate to do that when I'm taxiing because the airplane really likes to take off. But we only got up to 24 knots, so we're okay.
American 1895, American 1895 to the ground, we're 27 left short, taxi Tango, Papa, uniform.
And we don't want to go over that little.
Tango, Papa, uniform, Sierra, cross on right, American 1895.
Still doing 11 knots. It's a little too fast. No, come on. Just look at the checklist real quick. Check, check. Throttle, flaps, DI system. Strobes are on. Fuel looks good. Flight instruments are set, set, set. Altimeter setting is set. LFE is set. Takeoff distance is rotating at 85. And we're done. And I'll swap this. Oops. Swap this. And what did I say departure frequency is? I already forgot. Asheville departure. Actually, it says I'm on departure. 124.65. I should be on tower 121.1. 121.1. Swap that. Make sure there's no traffic out there. Okay. Lights, icing, flaps are set, transponder. Out. Switches, and it's parking brake and toga. Come on. And just throttle up until the prop gets up at 2000 up on the governor. There we go. That's good right there. Rotate. There's the terminal. Gear up. Flaps up, yaw damper. We'll make a left turn and we will swap to departure. We'll flitch right there. Let's put the autopilot on. So we can see Asheville from the air. Downtown's over here somewhere. I can't see the highway. US 40 runs this way through the mountains, and downtown's on the other side. Alright, so we're at 7,000 feet. And let's... VS... do have some mountains, so I don't want to go screwing around here too much. So we can get the inertial separator off. No lights off. Blue Ridge Mountains. I guess I should have clicked nav, huh? Not too far off, I guess. So I don't need that anymore. I tried the active sky clouds. They didn't go, no, they're not very good. Oops, 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 oops. I'll just leave it right there. So gears up, autopilot's on, flaps are up, yaw dampers on, or flitched, inertial separator's off, pitot heat's on. Why is my yoke doing that? Here, let me calibrate that real quick. Should have checked that. Yoke, calibrate. Let's do that. And next. It's no problem now, but it could be a problem when I'm coming in, so just take care of it now. Still leaning. Now, the difference between a turboprop and a piston engine airplane is you got to stay ahead, really ahead of the turboprop. You always have to be asking, what next, what next, what next? That should be US 40 right there. Well, actually, I don't know, because that's a tight turn. Look up here. Yeah, it does look like US 40. That's a steep descent right there. Really steep. coming out of the mountains.
JetBlue 21, 327, contact departure 120.85.
This is where the drive gets really pretty when you're coming through here, coming up. And you're so busy watching the road right here, you don't even see it. But the views over on this side are just gorgeous when you can sneak a peek. Okay, so I didn't verify my altitude is supposed to be yeah, it is 290. Pretty clouds. Could be prettier, I'll say that. I was looking at SkyMax Pro has got some new clouds. They're struggling with Vulkan. Seems like all these cloud producers are struggling with Vulkan. And I'm looking forward to them solving the Vulkan problem because I'd like to see some clouds where you could actually see bad weather, you know, which is which takes me to another conversation about what's going to be my B airplane. This is my A airplane, obviously, because I fly the crap out of it ridiculously. I'm looking for another B airplane. So I've got A, B, and C. A is this one. C at the moment is the Zebo. I may have two C's. You know, you always have your primary, which is the one you're going to fly the most. Then you have your secondary, and I only fly three. Your secondary, which is the one you fly the second most, and the third one you just fly occasionally. I don't know how you can fly the Zebo occasionally because it requires a lot of I mean, it really does require a lot of time to learn all the systems and all of the procedures, all the flows. You know, you've got, I don't know, I'd say 6, 7 pretty hefty flows, and that's just in the normal procedures. Maybe more than that, maybe more like 10. Airplane like this one only has 4, maybe. I mean, it may have the same amount, but it is in that regard easier. One thing, you know, before we start the VNAV discussion is it's less workload than the Zebo in one regard, and that is it's easier to slow down. The Zebo is hard to slow down. As you know, the big airliners, they're very slick, very fuel efficient. This one is much easier to slow down. You can slow down in descent. And that's an important way. So how far are we here? Well, let's see. Let's just wait till get up to altitude. I hope Orbx continues north from Florida to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. There's some pretty mountains. That's Hickory right there. Charlotte. Wonder how that airport is. Not sure we're going to be able to see it. So we got a little more time than we had yesterday with the flight from Sarasota up to Jacksonville. But this time I'm only doing one VNAV. I'm not going to try to squeeze two in. So if you haven't looked at that video, if you don't know VNAV, that covers it. And I have to say, I may redo it simply because it's so much information. It's like a fire hose. This one is much more straightforward. Complex enough to be interesting, but oh, torque is way down. Look at that. Doing less than 60 torque and we're already doing 250 knots. .22 knot tailwind, so we doing 315 thereabouts, maybe 320. But we're right on the fringe on ITT. Yeah, thought so. We'll do it there. It's Sunday, so we might see Jacksonville Center on tonight. So there we are, 328. So we're cruising along. We're at Hickory. This is be a nice flight. And so let's go to our flight plan. And for VNAV purposes, click view and go cumulative. That'll give us the distance. So there's our altitudes. If you notice, they're all white. Even these hard altitudes. The very first thing to do, the obvious thing to do, is, well, let's bring up the star, or make too many assumptions. Okay. That's one airport that I miss from prepared is Dulles. Flightbeam Dulles was a beautiful airport, hard on frames, but really just gorgeous. I used to fly out of it anyway. KAVL 3. Okay, so what does it say? One center, one right. From KAVL on track 026 to Casti, then on track 020 to Coins, then on track to 010. Expect radar vectors to final approach course. So is this, oh, there's two fixes right there, right next to each other. But we're landing one right, and it says Casti to Coins. KAVL to Casti to Coins. And then there's the airport. So, yeah. So we're going all the way to Coins at 6,000. So these are at 6,000, that's at 7,000, that's at 10,000. So the obvious thing to do to me is to kind of start down here, and I'll make all these required altitudes, which means the VNAV will respect them. And doing one of them tells me that we need to descend in a half hour. So we'll do each of those. If they're not blue, VNAV will more or less ignore them. And so all these VNAV's going to ignore, and so one of the reasons that I wanted to choose this star is because I wanted to show how to handle those. We're going to leave them white. So if you make them blue, that will mean VNAV will turn them into hard altitudes. That means that here, if I make this blue, that means we will cross Bentley at 13,000. We may not want to. It looks like we will want to. I wouldn't complain about setting that to a hard altitude of 13, but look, up over here, back here, we could be anywhere from 14 to 22. So we cross 22 here, above 22, and then below 22. Obviously, we'll be below 22. But it gives us a little bit more flexibility. That's 11 miles to descend 1,000 feet. So I don't want to make that a hard altitude. Besides, how far is this? This is 15 miles to descend 8,000 feet. That's a quick descent. So let's bring up the approach. So, well, actually, we don't need to bring up the approach because we know we have to be at 10,000 feet right here at KFLL. So how far are we from KFLL? 236. So right now we're at 19,000. We have to drop, or we're at 29,000. So we have to drop 19,000 feet. Which means you multiply 19,000 times 3. This is a remarkably accurate way of doing things. 19,000 times 3 is 57 miles. So we have to start our descent 57 miles before KFLL. So when we get 50, when this shows 57, we should be on our way down. So that's your back of the envelope thing that you need to check. It's a, you know, VNAV can put you in a tight spot if you're not careful. And that's the other thing I was going to say about VNAV. You got to watch it. You got to be aware. Every single change, you've got to be aware. If you change, right now this is 20, oops, right now this says 28 minutes to top of descent. If you make a change to your route, this number is going to change. And right here it says top of descent. Sometimes a change will flip that top of descent to a bottom of descent, and which means you need to start descending now. So, you know, be very careful with this. You make a change to your route, just check this. Approach might cut the corner here and send us direct to Perkin. If they do, check that. I'm not on VATSIM, so I'm just going to keep this simple. I'm not going to try to do anything fancy. Do some things fancy, but you know, I can screw it up. And if you're on a short flight, be extra careful. Longer flights, you have more time to think things through, notice things, do some planning. On short flights, it's, you know, you got to cram all that thinking down in fewer minutes. So those short, relaxing flights you're thinking about taking, if you're planning on using VNAV, especially for complex descent, then be on your toes. Don't ever trust it completely. $26. So I've got my fuel caps on. It's a bad time to check your fuel caps, but I've done it. Where are we? Greensboro's coming up. So we're not far from Winston down below. See? Looks like Winston to me. Right along the edge of the clouds. Okay. How much further we got? 24 minutes. If I go wide, the one thing I wish this had was a systems page. All three of these times are the same. It doesn't seem right. Oh, look at that cloud. That's weird. Wow. This looks like it could be 85. I watch people flying over England sometimes on streams. I don't get to watch them that much anymore, it seems, lately. So what is this over here? Is that Winston? Could be. That's, if it is, it's 52 right there. And this is 40. Yeah, that's what it is. This is business 40 here. But, is it? Yeah, that's Smith Reynolds right there. Very unusual airport in terms of this runway here. I haven't looked at it. Here, let me do this. I haven't landed here since I updated everything, but that runway is really sloped. I mean, in the real world, big slope. This is a nice runway, but that one's really sloped. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've changed it very much. They do an air show there, have done an air show there every year. It's nice. So this is going to be a more or less straightforward, and it's the, you know, if you're used to flying GA airplanes and you know the 3-to-1 rule where it's 3 times the altitude change makes, you know, the simple back of the envelope. Then this is the reason for VNAV is when you're doing all these step downs. If you ever fly from Vegas to Los Angeles and that ILS into what is it, 2.5, I think it is. It's just step down after step down after step down, and a VNAV can take the workload off of you really well. .3020 is the altimeter. Some marginal VFR airports around here right now. Not sure what we're gonna see. This is 40 here, this is 421. Yeah, listen, watching the British guys doing the reviews of Orbx England. They're always identifying all the roads down below. Oh, that's the whatever, you know. And you think they know a lot about their country, and here I am doing the same thing. So, yep. How much further? So we start descent in 17 minutes. So what are we going to do with these white altitudes? This is what we're going to do. Those are, well, the ones that are at or below, and this one's actually deceptive. We're going to have to watch the plate, the approach plate. So it's a little bit back and forth with the approach plate. If it's an at or above, then we will set that in our altitude window, in this window. So right now our VNAV altitude is 10,000. That one there, the pink one. And that's because the first hard altitude is 10,000 feet. And then it will automatically, once we pass this, it'll automatically change down to 7,000 feet. We've crossed that. It'll change to 6,000 feet. Okay, so these are all just suggested or advisory altitudes, not suggested, but advisory altitudes, just to keep you posted. Perkin, we know, is at or above 220. This one is at, it says at or below 220, but it's actually at between 220 and 14,000. So, you know, you gotta sort of use your head. We'll put 220 in here, and there's no way to know what altitude it's predicting. It's not like you can, well, you could fart around with it and come up with a way to do that. I guess what you could do is that, well, see, if I clear it out, there's no way to put at or above back in. You can only put a hard altitude back in. My idea was to clear it out so I could see what altitude it was predicting I'd be there, but then there's no way for me to put at or above back in. Does that matter? Not really, because I'm going to be holding the altitude here. Since VNAV will only go to the higher of the two altitudes here, I can keep it at or above by putting that there. And really, you sort of need to be tracking on this screen. You can go narrow if you want. You know, I like the wide, but there's no reason to use the wide since some of this stuff is wrong. This fuel remaining is wrong. Not that that's a huge deal. That's a bug in XPlane. You get cumulative ETE, or if you go back to leg, which is really what we should do, you can see the minutes until you know, minutes between the fixes, the minutes to the next fix. And that can be a really handy thing to have. And it's just a little bit difficult to use when you're not in VNAV descent, because you have to keep futzing with where you are and maybe with the range. But yeah, we're a minute 26 from Danville right now, and you can see us coming on the screen down at the bottom. I was watching a video on a real world flight in the Mustang, and they said you live on this screen. That's what they said. You live on this screen. And I don't believe there's any way to change the screen. Nope. There's the menu. By the way, I saw somebody flying with they were flying north up, which I find disorienting. But if you wanted to go to north up, you just click the menu button and then click enter if you want to go like that. And if you're at north up, you can go that way. So right now track is up. Seems like it's backwards, but whatever. Okay, so 16 minutes. 16 minutes. That's Danville down there. Yeah, when we get to the star, when we get close to Doran, then we can flip to this. Because right now we're just going to go off the screen. And again, since you're IFR and you filed your IFR flight plan, you don't have to worry about these areas. If you're VFR, even if you're getting flight following, you do have to pay attention to those areas. So if you've got a couple $1,000 to blow and want to get your instrument rating, I don't know what it costs anymore. I don't know. I didn't go that far into mine. I would have liked to have finished it. They didn't have a simulator, so I was paying for airtime and instruction. So there's that. So I may abbreviate this. There's our top of descent marker, that white circle. So 1 minute prior to that white circle, we'll hear a voice say vertical track. In this airplane. No other airplane does that I know of. Though I suspect, well, let's see. No, the Falcon, there's a new Falcon coming out, and also a Challenger 650, but they don't have G1000, so I don't know if they do anything like that or not. But that's your signal to pull back on your power. Be ready to pull back on your power. So put your hand on your power knob. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, the fixes come pretty tight after that. So this will be straightforward. The one caveat, well, I mean, like I said, you got to watch VNAV. You got to watch it all the time. It's not a free ride down. It will have you level off from time to time, and if the level off is more than 5 minutes, you're going to have to reactivate VNAV. So you just have to be on your toes with it a little bit. Be aware of what it's doing. Like I said, with the voice, you know, with the vertical track thing, it prompts you to take a look. That makes it easier. So in terms of using VNAV without that voice, it's just harder, that's all. So we'll be at 22.4 here. A minute and 25 seconds later, we still have to be above 220. So let's get that fix in the window. And we'll see ourselves come on right down here in just a minute. A couple of minutes. Now, we're inside the 5-minute window. You can't click VNAV until you're inside that window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outsell down to 22,000. And the reason is, like I said, because we need to make sure the airplane does not go below 22,000 at parking. If we don't put that in there, there's a pretty good chance we'd be below parking. So the airplane will only go to the higher of these two altitudes. So you're stopping the airplane right there is what you're doing. So my altitude is set. I can go ahead and click VNAV, which puts VPath in white here. When it goes active, this will turn pink, just like this, or whatever color that is. Before that, we'll see a vertical tape show up right here with a caret. So we're all set. Nothing to do but make sure it does what it's supposed to do. Flying into Dallas. I never put my approach in. Let's see, I've got 2 minutes. Proc. Approach. Other way. ILS one right. And BRV CSN. I've got time. Approach. ILS 1 center right. One 101. That's I want that on nav 1 110. have to, let's see, AMLVR 113.5. Swap that in.
Vertical track.
And PFD bearing 2. So that'll give us the other bearing. Go back. Okay, so vertical track. Got 1 minute. VNAV is set. The path is set. Altitude is set. There's the caret right there saying that where we will begin descent. BRV or CSN? I don't see either one of those. Oh, there's BRV. So we'll take BRV. And 512. There we go down. So power back. Put the altitude in here. Oops. We'll take a look at that in a second. Match up our heading bug. We've got 30 miles to go till we get to Doran. This line from here to here is 30 miles, so that's what I'm saying. It's about 30 miles. So I'm going to do something real quick here. I need to set my course to 011, so I'm going to click heading. Watch what happens to our descent rate while I'm doing this. And then course. Notice how we're not descending anymore. Put CDI back on and nav. It'll catch back up. If you take yourself off of VNAV, it will slow your descent or stop it. So before you hit heading, when you get a heading vector from approach, make sure you hit VS. So it's catching up. Now let's see what happens here. We are past. We're past Doran. No, we're coming up on Doran. So our altitude is set at 220 for Perkin. And then when we get past Perkin, we'll set 14,000. So what is our missed approach? Climb to 800, then climbing right turn to 3,000 via heading 060. So 3,000 is our missed approach altitude. We need to be at 3,000 at Brook, and then descend to the final approach fixed altitude of 1900. So our course is set, our frequency is set, not identified. Notice this is switched to bottom of descent, BOD, 9 minutes and 39 seconds. this will get you through just about any star, any standard arrival route. The one thing about this one is that we're going to get a vector from the SID to the approach. Sometimes it'll go straight into the approach, which is nice. You get down to the intermediate fix, which is the fix right before the final approach fix, and this will automatically switch itself to your ILS course or your glide slope. I should have done the RNAV GNS. We'll do that on another lesson, another discussion. Okay, so here we are. We're coming up on Perkin. And so now our altitude is set at 20,000 feet, so 22,000 feet. We're no longer on VNAV. We can't go back on VNAV, and notice our indicators telling us you need to keep going, you need to keep going. Scroll up to Perkin. So it's saying that we need to descend at 1384, and it's going up. We're just going to let it do its thing. Heading. And then I'm going to set 14,000 feet, which is the at or above altitude for K-hood. And wait for this to switch to K-hood. Then we're going to hit VNAV and then VNAV direct. Go back. Gotta have these up. Soft keys. These are real useful. Okay, we're going to K-hood, so I'll hit VNAV, and then I'll hit VNAV direct. And down we go. And this will catch up. So the next fix is 13,000 feet at Bentley. I wish that cursor stayed on the screen. So this is a really good example. 3020. Let's see, how far do we have? These fixes come fast and furious after this, don't they? 2 minutes, 1 minute. So So see, we're at 17,000 feet crossing K-Hood, so 14,000 would have been a really bad idea if we would have hard coded that to 14,000. Okay, so now we're going down to Bentley, so I can go down to 13,000. You can see this is work. This is keeping your eye on things. Let me zoom out a second and declutter so I can see this where BRV is our fix. We don't want to go to BRV. That would, if I activated the approach, it would turn us around and go to BRV. But we could intercept, say, at after we pass Coins, we could intercept it at Mosby. So that's what I wanted to see. So let's go back to the flight plan. Once we get below Migo, we can just put it all the way down to what is it, 6,000, I believe. Yeah. But until we get there, we got to keep following it with the altitude. Just keep it in check. Let's go back to Bentley. Okay, so we're 1,200 feet above. So now we can go down to 11,000. So come up here. And here, we just have to be at or above. There's no above altitude. So we'll fly it all the way down to Coins. Scenery loading. Potomac approach is 126.1. 126.1. Swap that in. And Dulles Tower is 120.1. Okay, now it's telling us that we're at the bottom of the vertical track. Let's see, we're on our way to KAVL, so I can go on down to 6,000. Let's go here, 6,000. So it warned us that we were about to stop. But now it's taken over. It will, see, now it says 10,000. When we cross KAVL, it'll drop down to 7,000, and then it'll drop down to 6,000. So now it's doing all the heavy lifting. So we have some time to just not do much. So when we get down to Coins, let's go back to flight plan. Go down to Coins. I'm going to do a vector over to Mosby. So I'll activate the leg on Mosby. heading mode, heading bug. And so now you notice that we're not descending. And this is where it's going to say vertical track again. And we can see we got 1 minute and 30, so it hasn't been 5 minutes, so it'll do it automatically. If it's more than 5 minutes, remember, you got to reactivate VNAV. Let's see. So we're at 10,000 feet. I guess we could get our lights on.
Vertical track.
And there's the vertical track warning. So Mosby is where we want to go. And when you activate a leg, you select the fix and it will activate the leg outside of that fix. So Mosby, it'll activate between Desis and Mosby, Desis and Mosby. Here comes our indicator. I'll just come back a little on the power. So now it's 7,000. And it'll only go down to the higher of the two, so we're on our way down to 7,000.
Vertical track.
That means to expect we'll stop descent at some point. So coins is where we go to. So here we are at 7,000 just briefly. And notice vertical path is still white over here. This gets a little confusing when you get down to the final approach fix. When the final approach fix intersects with the or when your star intersects with your final approach fix, because it can still say vertical path, but you're not going down. Once you get to the intermediate fix, the fix right before the final approach fix, it will not re-engage. You have to do something. Most people would activate the approach. Okay. So the heading bug, do a heading of north. And then we'll drop our altitude down to 3,000. Okay, so we'll go heading mode. And then VS down to 3,000. Actually, that won't do any good because we have to set this to 3,000 first. VS. And then we'll come down here. We'll do flight plan. And we will come down here to Mosby. And we'll click activate leg. That's at 1900. Is that right? Mosby's at 3000. Let's go back to this view here. Actually, I want to go further left. See if that's far enough. So that was incorrect. I didn't check my fixes. All right, and then I can swap to CDI. And I can already see the glide slope coming in, and IIAD is set. Identified. PFD, bring it to DME. Back. Okay. Let's slow us down. Now we can go down to 1900 if we want, or we can wait. We'll wait for the intercept. Oops. Heading mode. I didn't activate the approach after all that. And we're still okay. Glide slope's coming down though. Gotta get over there. Yeah, we got it. Okay, speed back. And there's the first notch of flaps. Power up to there. Gear down. Oh, I thought I was going to be flying in the soup there for a second. Oh, approach. I did it again. God bless it, twice. Alright, we're on our way down. Speed's good. Sync up the heading bug. And we got a crosswind. Heading bug. And let's take over. So at 1,000 feet, we'll put in the last notch of flaps. So 1,000 feet will be 1,500. Then we dive to try to keep the glide slope. I'll let it slide up a little bit. Drop the tower.
Minimum.
Landing. Is that a jet that went over our heads? Ugh. I may not have chosen the appropriate. Let's see, what's the wind? Well, I don't know. I guess any runway's in play. The other day I was taking off from Jacksonville and I was from Fort Lauderdale. All the other traffic was going with a tailwind, taking off with a tailwind. I was going the opposite way. At least he's out of the way. Okay. Flare, cut the power. Oh, there's somebody down there.
Airspeed.
Sorry, we apologize, or maybe you should apologize. We're going all the way to the end. Flaps up. And maybe we should get off the runway. Okay, pitot heat off, landing light off, strobes off. So as freeware airports go, this doesn't look too bad. Not awful. Though, not like flight beams. Lights, icing, flaps, transponder. We're good. I'm just glad I'm not on VATSIM, landing opposite direction without a clearance. So that was a good star. I mean, it covered all of the things, most all of the things that you'll see on a standard approach. Into, or a standard arrival route into a airport. Let's see. Careful here. Airport. And we are here, and we are going to there. So it looks like we want to take this next taxiway. Well, I don't know. We'll park over there with this other guy. Hello, Felix. You're live. Let's see. So okay. So where's the checklist? No, you're not. Alright, so icing is good. Check, 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 check. Radar is good. Transponder. Standby. Check, check. Flaps are up. Strobes are off. Lights are off. Trims are set. Shut the bleeds off, AC off. Check, check, check. AP trims are off. And we have just a couple of more seconds. All right. Inertial separator is off. I never turned it on. Oxygen's already off. Check, 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 check. Oxygen. And chocks on. Park and brake off. I'll just wait for the give the inertial. Well, I never did. I never adjusted the inertial separator. I never turned it on, so it's closed. It's open. Whatever. That's it. That was a good, to me, that was typically what I have seen in stars. So if you're wondering, you know, how to handle those kinds of situations with a star, then you'll know. I used to fly the 777 out of here. That was fun. Maybe we'll get a good one again. I have 13 ABOs. I don't know what an ABO is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the flight. I hope you learned something. And if you've got any questions or anything, feel free to leave a comment. If you wouldn't mind, hit the up button or the like button if you liked it. Comments are always welcome. And go check out Luna's World and watch him. It's a beautiful flight. He did a flight. Oh, I told you about that flight. He left his fuel tank covers off, but it still was a pretty flight. I can understand why he didn't notice it, because his views don't show him the fuel tank covers. So, oh, so now we're going to switch to this runway. Okay, maybe they got a good, maybe I gave him an idea. Oof. That sounded horrible.